large diaphragm condenser microphone or dynamic microphone? Which is best? What's the difference? Let's find out. Okay, so I've got a system here where I can compare two microphones. This channel, this all looks hideously complicated, it is really. But this input here is my Sphere DLX microphone that's coming through. And that's what you're listening to me on now. If I mute that one, yeah, no, it definitely went quiet. I'm on the right microphone. And I have here a virtual mic channel. And I've got another microphone into the preamp on the computer. And that audio is coming down this channel. And we can have a listen to this now. I'll unmute that one and mute this one. So this is the other microphone, which happens to be a Shure SM7B at the moment. So now you're listening to the Shure SM7B. I'll have a little chat on there. I've got both microphones right next to each other and I'm talking centrally between the two mics. So should be getting a similar level of audio into each one. Let's just double check. So that's the ALC distressor on the Sphere DLX microphone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they should have the same gain on each one. I'm just going to move that one below. And I'm just going to give this a little bit more mic gain. So I'm getting the same kind of reduction on the Opto ALC as I am on the Sphere. And there we go. 1, 2, 1, 2. There we go. They look very similar levels there. So I think now I'm comparing like for like. Keep my head central. And let me switch back over. So mute that mic. Now I unmute the Sphere DLX. So you're hearing a direct comparison now between the two microphones. Now the Sphere DLX, I can mimic any microphone apparently, well, not any microphone, but there's a huge list of microphones in here. So if I click that button there, bring this over, I can now click in here and I'm going to pick the DN7, which is an SM7B. And there is my SM7B emulation. So let's hear how similar they are. So I'm going to mute the Sphere mic again. And now I'm unmuting the Shure SM7B. So this is the real microphone, the real SM7B. Just have a little talk into here. Bit difficult to know what to say. Sizzling sausages, Postman Pat. So let's get some plosives and S's. So that was the real microphone. Now I'm going to mute that one. And now we go back to the Sphere microphone in Shure SM7B mode. Sizzling sausages, Postman Pat. So there we've got a direct comparison. Now I'm going to turn off all of the noise reduction stuff. So get rid of CVOX there and CVOX on that virtual mic. And I've got to move my head now, but I'm going down this channel here and I've got a noise gate effectively on there. So I've now turned that one off. And I also have a noise gate on OBS. So I'm just going to turn that one off. Okay, so I've just turned the OBS, the downward expander off. So you're now listening to the room with all this background noises and all its glory. I've turned the air conditioner off, so there's fairly minimal background noise. I can definitely hear it coming through though. And I'm on the Sphere DLX. Let me switch over. And now we're on the SM7B. Similar level of noise. I'm seeing minus 35 dBs on the SM7B. And actually a little bit lower. It's down at minus 45 on the Sphere DLX. Both of them hearing a few birds chirping. Go back to the SM7B. Oh, so that's my breath on the SM7B. There we go. That's my breath on the DLX, which sounds louder, interestingly. Well, I don't know, maybe quite similar. So I'm going to take my headphones off, and now I'm going to just do a little walk back towards the back of the room. And I'm going to keep looking at the microphone. I'm walking straight back as far as I can go here, and I'm watching the indicator so I can see the audio still being picked up. And now that's it, as far as I can go to the back corner of the room. Now I'm walking back towards the microphones again and talking as I'm going. And that was the test there with the Shure SM7B. Now I've muted the SM7B, I'm back onto the Sphere. I'm going to do the same, so I'm walking backwards, I'm going back as far as I can here. Well, by the table, here we go, back towards the back corner of the room. And there's me talking there as far as I can go back into the back corner. And now I'm walking back towards the microphone while I'm talking, coming back to the chair and sitting back in front of the microphone again. Now I'm going to just do the same after switching the microphone back to the custom Sphere Linear, which is how I normally run it. The reason I'm doing that is just in case that Sphere Linear is somehow it's emulating the SM7B so accurately that it's even going to emulate the whole field of pickup around the microphone. I'm just going to do that one more time with my picture on the screen so you can get an idea of how far away I am from the mic. So I'm on the Shure SM7B at the moment, and now I'm walking backwards. I'm walking away from the mic, past the table on the left, back towards the door, and now I'm getting back as far as I can go in the room. So here I am, and now I'm going to walk back towards the microphone, talking as I go, and hopefully give an idea there. Now I'm going to go back to the other microphone. Right, there we are. Now I'm back on the Sphere DLX. I'm just going to do the same thing. Walking backwards, past the table, back towards the door here, and just talking as far away as I can. And I'm coming back towards the microphone, talking as I go. And I'm going to sit back in front of the microphones. There we are. That's my microphone test. I think I've done quite a reasonable mic test there. So I've used identical EQs, identical compressor chains, everything the same. The preamps are different, but the preamps really don't colour the audio that much. Perhaps I should do another test, but they're generally very high quality. The first result I got was that the Sphere DLX modelling system is actually quite accurate. I was quite impressed with how closely the SM7B mode on the DLX represented the real microphone. The reason I did that was to see whether the DLX system is changing the polar pattern behaviour or some kind of behaviour to do with the microphone to make it match the SM7B. So changing those two modes, I think, showed that they're exactly the same. I was picking up the same background noise whether I was modelling the SM7B or I was using the linear Sphere DLX unmodified. I then did a test where I checked how much background noise was picked up by each microphone as I moved further away. You could quite clearly hear my feet shuffling on the floor and the audio about the same volume on both microphones as I moved around. So the amount of background noise picked up, certainly in front of the microphones anyway, is the same on both mics. That suggests to me that it's a myth that a condenser microphone picks up more background noise than a dynamic microphone. There may be different polar patterns, so they might have different sensitivities in picking up noise from different directions. But there's nothing fundamentally different about the mics, which is going to make one more sensitive than another. And that makes sense to me because they're both linear, they're both very high quality microphones. If a dynamic microphone started to lose quieter sounds in the room, then there'd be a non-linearity there which would cause some kind of distortion. So I don't think it's going to make any difference whether you use a condenser or a dynamic. The background noise is going to be the same. In terms of audio quality, hopefully you heard from that they're both very good. The SM7B was at a disadvantage in this test because the EQ was done on the Sphere DLX. So you were hearing the SM7B being used through an EQ that I did for the DLX. One thing I have found the Shure SM7B to lack in is the low end. So the low end below 100 Hz or so does drop off quite quickly. So if you're looking for an audio which is got a nice lot of rumble down the bottom, you're going to be better off with a large diaphragm condenser. Not all condensers are good at lower frequencies, but generally the larger the diaphragm, the more low frequencies they pick up and the clearer it is. Another disadvantage with a dynamic microphone is the gain that's required to get a reasonable audio level through. So with the SM7B, I had to use a thing called a FET head preamp, which gave something like 22 dBs of gain to the audio. And if that FET head isn't put in line, then you just can't get enough output from the preamp. So that means you also need 48 volts phantom power to power the FET head, exactly the same as with a condenser mic. And the FET head and the microphone with all that gain tend to be slightly more noisy. So just the background noise level, even if it was in a completely silent room, the microphone has got this kind of background hiss that gets picked up. And you can hear that slightly louder on the SM7B as well. I think typically that's true of most dynamic microphones. For lower noise, more low end pickup, clearer low end, a condenser microphone seems to be the way to go. There are some great dynamic microphones which don't suffer from the proximity effect. Most of those models have been produced by a company called Electrovoice. And the proximity effect is an issue where when you get closer to a microphone, the low end, the bass of the voice comes up stronger, and it can be quite overpowering. Having a microphone which isn't susceptible to the proximity effect is a good advantage to getting a nice even EQ no matter where you move your head in relation to the microphone. The Electrovoice range have quite a good low end response as well. I don't own one, unfortunately, but lots of people use them and are very happy with them. In the end, there's no right or wrong answer, condenser or dynamic. It's really up to you, and every microphone has a different frequency response. Some mics suit people's voices better than others. Once you get to a certain quality of microphone, it really isn't going to make much difference how you sound on air. If you have experience of dynamic and condenser microphones and have any information that would be interesting, please leave it in the comments and perhaps I'll do some more tests in a future video. Thanks very much for watching, and please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.